Hello, this is Halcyon. I wanted to have a special special edition Hug Nation, checking in with some topics that are on my mind that I just can't wait until Monday to share. One of those was about Fly Ranch. Now, months ago, when it was announced that Burning Man had purchased Fly Ranch, I did an update about how excited I was about the potential of it. And what I haven't shared is that during the week before the burn this year, I got to visit Fly Ranch. I got a tour of the property and of this wonderland. It was so different than what I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I just pictured it was going to be like the playa with a well, a little like watering hole in the middle of it. And it's something special. It's like a 10-minute drive over this ridge, and it's a totally different ecosystem. There's like grasslands, and there's wild horses, and there's pool after pool after pool of thermal heated, ponds. And they're huge ones. Like the big one that I swam in was, I don't know, like 80 feet across. I guess in the middle they said it's 30 feet deep, and in 100 something degrees. And so what was wonderful about this tour was that, one, I got to see and experience and feel the energy of this place, which was so different than what I expected. And also I got to talk to and hear perspectives and opinions of people who are very connected to Burning Man, either through theme camps or through the board or through employment there, and hear people's perspectives and thoughts, even people who've been thinking about this and spending time in a deep, significant, intimate way. And so it was interesting, as like some thought would come up, I'd be like, oh, we have to do this, and they'd be like, that's interesting. However, think about it like this. And I was like, oh, you've thought about this a lot already, haven't you? Oh yeah, that's a good point. So like the first thought I had when I saw this incredible, beautiful place was that, oh my gosh, this looks so fragile. Like you couldn't unleash, tens of thousands of burners into this place because they would trample it, they would destroy it, even if they're well-meaning. Because if you look at the way that the playa is about the most resilient landscape imaginable. I mean, that's why you can have explosions and fire, even though you do take precautions to protect the dust and the land. It's still, you can have some pretty dramatic trampling, explosions, fire, and the land will survive. The land will barely notice that people have been there, especially when so much effort is put in with conservation. And thank you so much to all those who have been working, and many who are still there, who have been cleaning up, and the restoration team, which I hear is 100+ people that have been there for whatever, a month now or more. So my first thought was, oh my gosh, this area is not as resilient. We need to protect it. We need to, make sure that it's not destroyed by all the burners. And the point was made like, well, there's this movement in environmentalism that is less about protection and putting a velvet rope around things and more about integration. And the more that we talked about this place and about the unique properties of Fly Ranch, the more it's like, wow, this is actually a perfect place to practice this new integration, working together. The word was used of stewardship of the land. And I love this because Fly Ranch, if you're unfamiliar, there's a geyser there. There is this water, thermal water shooting out of the ground that has this crazy looking multicolored geyser that is man-made. This geyser did not exist until people drilled down to try to tap the thermal properties of this land, and in doing so, broke through, created the geyser. They could not tap it, and it has just been shooting out of the air, or through the air ever since, out of the ground. So, this incredible place, this geyser didn't exist until the 70s. So, it's not like this is Yellowstone. It's not like this is this timeless, ageless, natural phenomenon that humankind needs to tread around. This this place, was created in tandem with the impact of humans. And so it's the perfect landscape, playground, classroom, canvas for which to experiment in this new type of stewardship, this new type of integration. And so as Burning Man and the Playa is this exciting and successful experiment in transitory expression, where everything is eliminated at the end of the week, where everything is destroyed and burned, this, minutes away environment is the magical yang to the yin to the yang, where instead of transitory expression, it can be a place of sustainability, of thriving, of growth. I mean, imagine what could happen if we tapped the genius that is drawn to Burning Man, and instead of creating art, structures, culture that is created with the intention of being eliminated and gone after a week, it was brought that same inspiration and genius to create things that were sustainable and grew. What would you do if you were going to make a shade structure that was intended to last and grow year after year? What kind of art would you create if it was intended to grow artist to artist to artist year after year, potentially generationally? What could you create if you integrated the idea of structures and art and power consumption and power creation? And what could you create if you were intentionally making something that was a experiment in sustainability, an experiment in kind of generating energy and healing experimentation, that then you could create technology that could then be taken out of the world? In the same way that people experiment with technology at Burning Man that then can become much more utilitarian, much more useful. Imagine what could happen in this new space. And so because of it is a more fragile space, my vision, or my, where I'm at right now, is that this fly ranch environment becomes like a think tank where people from many disciplines are brought in to tackle the problems of the world. One of the huge criticisms of Burning Man is like people say, yeah, but all of this genius, all of this effort, all of this money goes into something that doesn't last. It doesn't have any real impact on the world. Now, I have argued against that and will continue to argue against that, because I think the impact that happens on an individual is massive. I think that the shifts that happen in a human being when they then go back in the default world and they put their life and they put their passions into the world are untold and hard to measure. I know that my life what I put into the world is absolutely a result by the frivolous, whimsical, hard to measure impact of Burning Man. And so that's a separate argument. But what if you could counter that argument with saying, yeah, okay, Burning Man does put a lot of effort into things that do not have a long-term existence. But what if then the counter to that? What if the alternate path, the alternate wing of this huge experiment was this fly ranch sustainability, was this kind of practicing think tank, experimental ground for more significant problem-solving technologies, more significant long-term solutions, more significant solar, wind, water responsibility. And I think that the people who are drawn to this Burning Man, this Black Rock Sea, this 10 principle community, once they catch the bug, once they feel gifting, once they start dedicating massive amounts of their lives to this communal gifting, they crave to have that be a bigger part of their lives. They crave to have it be a bigger part of the world. And so I think that given the opportunity, these people with mad resources, whether it's financial or intellect or talent, will be chomping at the bit to play a part in this new experiment, to dedicate and contribute their resources. I mean, the story of my understanding of how Fly Ranch came to be was that burners who are now on the board and who recognize that this movement is a significant part of the healing of the world and of the problem solving of our future, saw the opportunity of Fly Ranch, not knowing exactly what it was, but said, you know what? This movement will be benefited by the addition of Fly Ranch. So we will donate the resources, donate the finances so that you can buy it, and trust that the same evolutionary, from the inside out construction of Black Rock City, the same energy that allowed that to organically become what it is, that same organic genius, muse, creative coming to be will drive whatever Fly Ranch is going to be. And having faith that if it follows that same kind of flow, it will result in a set of awarenesses, learnings, tools, something that will lead humanity towards this path of healing. Do I sound like I'm talking in hyperbole? I don't care. I think that this is the most exciting time in Burning Man's history. I think this is the most exciting time in my life that I've been alive. And one of the reasons that I'm so optimistic is because of things like this. Here is this, as exciting as Burning Man is, here is a split in the expression of this community that has never happened before. Not away from, but in tandem with the transitory fire, momentary expressions of Black Rock City is going to be this integrative, stewardship, sustainable, thriving growth expression, experiment of Fly Ranch. And it's impossible to know what will happen, but I think that if we keep that same kind of philosophy of not trying to steer it from the top down, but allowing the inspiration that comes through to steer it, we cannot anticipate, we cannot predict. We simply have to just know and have faith that if we let this stuff out, solutions, magic, inspiration, healing, it will come through. So I am so proud to be a part of this community. I am so proud of everyone that is dedicating their time and resources, and I'm so proud of actually the organization as well that has been is willing to say, hey, we're at this precipice, we're at this juncture, and we're not going to tell you what's going to happen next. We're going to ask the community. They're going to bring in people to experience Fly Ranch and to share their thoughts and inspiration. And so I'm so honored that I am a part of this conversation, as we all are. So I'm very excited to be at this time and place. I'm going to be at San Francisco DCOM this weekend, and then I'm going to be at Utopia the weekend after that, which is the San Diego Regional. And then who knows, but I will definitely be talking about this and other things. Oh, I hinted that there were some other things on my mind. I said my new job, and I'll admit that was a little bit of a tease, because my new job is the same job that I've had for the last 15 years, which is speaking my truth and sharing my journey and sharing stories. But my new job is simply a shift in perspective. My phone's about to die, so I'm going to grab my cord. So, don't die. It's not a real death. It's more of a battery death, but in this modern world, can you tell the difference? So my new job is, it was really an epiphany that I had, which is that since my incredible experiences at the burn this year, and my feeling of being much more in tune with my being guided by spirit and source, I've noticed that I'm speaking from a much more confident place. I'm asking people to watch the videos I make from a place that is less humble than in the past. And I think part of it is because in the past I felt like I'm sharing these ideas because, and if they resonate with you, then you should listen. But since the burn, I feel like the ideas that I'm sharing are not my ideas, that I am much more of service and allowing things to come through me. I watched the videos that I made this week, and as I watched it, I was like taking notes because I didn't remember saying it, and it was information that I needed to know. And I'm like, where did this come from? It came from my boss. And part of my job is to share whatever ideas come through, and part of my job is to, with a sense of conviction, say, I think you need to hear this. I'm not saying you should. I'm not going to pressure anyone, but I believe that there is ideas and there are truths and there are shifts in perspective and direction that humanity can start to put their energy into that will make a big difference. And I think that this whole conversation about Fly Ranch is a part of that. And to find the truth, to reveal this creativity, this muse, this genius requires a bunch of kind of awareness shifts in humanity, in an individual basis. Some of that is in quieting down enough, getting away from your screen long enough so that you can hear whatever is coming through you, because it's not, the voice inside you is not nearly as loud as the voice of marketing and video games and things. And another part of this is shifting your whole concept of self from a consumer to that of a creator and to an artist and a maker. And this is the kind of ideas that I will be talking about over and over and over again, because I strongly felt a calling to expand my messages of vulnerability and love to include, and it's been a big way, this quieting down, trusting intuition, shifting from a passive consumer to an active creator in the world. Okay, so that's my new job. My new job is working for the source, working for the universe, and the perks are awesome. So thanks everybody for tuning in this spur of the moment broadcast. I definitely I feel super. If you've been following my broadcast, I'm keeping videos on YouTube. I'm sharing a bunch on Facebook. I kind of feel like I am still got one foot. I haven't quite returned from Burning Man, and if all goes well, I will never return from Burning Man, because more and more I have get affirmation that this community. And I say this community, even if you've never been to Burning Man and never will, this community meaning that the larger community of people that are participants in their lives and in the world, and supporting one another, and focusing on the 10 principles or versions of them, whether that be radical self-reliance, radical self-expression. Gifting specifically is the huge one, but anyone, regardless of your community, regardless, if you can find others that can reflect and encourage this, that larger community, shifting away from the consumer class, is it's a movement that's changing the world. And it's a movement that needs us to help each other and support each other, because there are other movements happening in the world that are not quite as light spreading. So, all right, I'm going to try to, I've been like ranting and I haven't seen anyone's comments, so I'll try to pay attention to those now and post. But if you do have feedback or comments on what I've said today or what I've been saying recently, send me a message or post on my page, or on the Hug Nation page, or just, smoke signal it or tattoo it and then flay your skin and send it to me by mail. Whatever the easiest way to get that message to me, I would love to stay in contact and we can continue to support one another. So, thank you so much for being you, because that's important work. Thank you.